Last time, our protagonist, following the recommendation of Jenny, arrived at an underground lab in search of better drugs. The old man at the lab telling him that he never gave Jenny permission to introduce customers to him. To these words, Van pauses, unsure of the situation, but thankfully the strange elder tells him it's fine as long as he gets his money from customers. Then asking what he's looking for at his orchid. Van then pulling out a vial of Viper, asking for something with similar effects. The old man taking a closer look at the Viper and giving it a taste, explaining that it is super cheap and probably barely strengthen his body. Van explaining that he used it to help with mana, confusing the old man since a trashy one like this shouldn't help with mana, adding that there are rumors that high-class mages can experience rapid effects if they take Viper, but magic takes a long time to learn, so he's too young to be one. Van realizing this is why it was so effective for him, then placing down 2 million sell as budget for the new drugs. Meanwhile, back at Jenny's bar, her and the bartender talk about how, despite Dylan seeing Van use ice magic, he didn't bring it up with her at all. Jenny bursting up saying that he can't just be a simple lightning mage. Then pausing again, wondering why he hid this. Her stating she has never come across a mage as understanding as him, to the agreement of the bartender, who tells her she can only offer him jobs for now. Jenny looking into some merc jobs since he worked with Dylan, who is a merc. The bartender telling her he's helping her because Kaiser asked, but he doesn't know how long he can do this. Warning her that despite her being sharp and smart, she is too impatient. Jenny simply giving him an okay sign, uninterested in his speech. Back at the orchid, the old man reveals Kashade C107, a drug that provides 6 hours of physical reinforcement, as well as mana and stamina activation, followed by a headache, spasms, vomiting, and maybe even vomiting blood. The old man saying that for 2 million sell, that is the one with the least amount of side effects. Van then taking the box of drugs and going on his way, now ready to prepare for more jobs. Back in his house, our boy sits in a meditation form, harnessing his mana to draw a spherical barrier around his room, also adding some lightning and gravity trap magic for anyone who manages to invade the barrier. Glad that now that he's got a house, he can prepare properly, but before he can start the next step, he gets a call from Jenny, ending the call saying he'll head over now. Our boy looking through the news on his phone to see that the factory incident was covered up as a gas leak. Him thinking he'll have to be more careful when working with businesses as there are things going on outside of his control and sight. Also thinking of the overpowered Kraken and how despite Lennox's insane magic talent, he still couldn't handle him. So he needs more methods other than magic. Unwrapping his second preparation, a brand new handgun. At the bar, Jenny gives Van the rundown for the job, explaining that a gang called Scavenger took over an office building with the company who owns it, requesting Krimgar mercenary group to help, and them wanting to hire him as a mage for fire support. Jenny also informing him there are other jobs if he doesn't want this one, as he's pretty famous for surviving the old crocodile. Jenny giving her recommendation to take the Krimgar job since mercs never cheat you out of money or anything of the sort, warning him that there are a lot of guys who chop off hands and feet after a job is done. Jenny then boastfully saying that is why she is here, as she guarantees the safety and trust of both client and freelancer for a bit of a fee. Van smiling as he accepts her recommendation for the Krimgar job. On the day of the job at the meeting place, the Krimgar mercs are posted up waiting for their hired mage to arrive. The group discussing the lightning mage they hired for 20 million sell on the recommendation of Jenny. All of them left shocked in disbelief upon seeing how young the mage they hired is. Our boy as Van strolling toward them whilst munching on a sandwich. The leader of the mercs, Dre, stating he hopes they won't have any harm to each other in the operation before starting the briefing, pulling up a projection and explaining everyone's roles and units, with Van over in the corner thinking that he's a born leader. Dre then finishes the briefing by telling Van that he just needs to pour in attacks at the beginning and then support Unit 3 from the back. Everyone heading off to get in position with the briefing over and the mission starting. Our boy looking over the myriad of weapons the mercs use, thinking that in this line of work, everyone knows sometimes you need a miracle like magic, and that's why everyone is always desperate for mages. Outside the office building, Dre tells Van that the enemies inside may have also hired a mage. Van then using his mana sense to find a visual substitute that the enemy mage is using to scout, grabbing it in his hand and infusing his own mana into it, tracing all the way back to the mage and destroying their spell, forcing the magic to rebound right to the mage, taking them out. Van then informs Dre that he took out the mage and now is the best time to go in. Dre peeking the corner to find the scavengers inside in a panic. Dre then orders his group to initiate the mission, all of them rushing forward using smoke grenades for cover, with Van waltzing in as well, pulling out the new Viper and taking a hit, surprising him at the burst of mana from it. Then stepping forward and unleashing a barrage of lightning with his spell Chain Lightning, shattering the office windows and electrocuting the enemies at the windows and out the front, stunning all of the primary members of the Grimgar mercs, who then begin their own coordinated assault on the building. Wei On using his tonfa batons to handle one of the scavs, knocking them out, whilst Kithel snipes an enemy sniper who is locked on Wei On, protecting their youngest. Ike and another shield user launching their giant metal shields at the rushing enemies, taking them all down and clearing the way. Even still, more scavs come charging forward, with Dre commanding his mercs to take care of them fast, him taking note of one of them in the middle, thinking something is different about him, with that man then bursting past all of them, targeting the mage in the back, near instantly arriving right next to Van, his dagger rapidly approaching Van. But with a bang, Van pulls and fires his gun without hesitation, catching the man off guard. Van, satisfied with his attack that quickly combines aim assist, outburst acceleration, and shock reinforcement, and his new gun that can withstand it. Dre then running over to check on his state in a panic, Van calmly replying that he can protect himself so he doesn't need to worry. Dre, Wei On, and Kithel impressed at this mage's versatility. Unit 1 led by Kithel then get into position, scaling the side of the building and assaulting the upper floors of the office, ambushing the scavs inside, followed by Wei On and Unit 2 leaping up to the rooftop above with their superhuman strength, whilst Dre leads Unit 3 with Ike and Van following him inside the ground floor. After clearing the first floor, Dre calls in over the radio, Kithel responding after a short silence that the second floor is clear, to Dre and Ike's relief. The units then join up to clear out the third floor, even easier than Dre expected. Dre internally impressed with the help of the mage, thinking a proper mage is really powerful. Kithel then sneaking up to him and whispering that they should hire the mage, but Dre walks off saying they don't have the money. Kithel arguing back, swooning over the prospect of all the money someone like him could bring in. Dre brushing her off again, radioing in that they'll continue with the plan, now heading up to the rooftop where Wei On is. But Dre is left in shock when Wei On's broken voice replies, clearly in trouble. Everyone quickly rushing to the rooftop to find him and Unit 2 splayed out on the ground with blood splattered everywhere. Dre with the heavily wounded Wei On in his hands, ordering the others to give out regeneration pills to the injured. Wei On, now with his wound healed, wearily apologizing to his captain, whilst Van with his poor physique only just reaching the rooftop, concluding from the current situation that the person that left all these mercs alive must still be here. At these words, Dre, leaving Wei On with Van, forms up with those left and begins scouting the rooftop. The furious Dre asking aloud, "Where are you?" A figure sitting atop the building's antenna replying that he didn't expect guests this early, with a bloodlusting smile staring down from above. The menacing scavenger divulging their plan to use the network of this office, which controls the taxes of District 53 to steal hundreds of millions of sell, without even needing to go to the city government building. Dre replying that he didn't expect a retired military guy to take on something like this, adding that no normal criminal could have as much bloodthirst as that. with his gun trained on him. The old man then pulling out a red pill, declaring he won't be stopped by some mere mercenary. The mercs then open fire on him, the scav leaping down, avoiding the gunfire and consuming the pill as he lands, emerging from the smoke with a sinister, shadowy aura, his hair and eyes black, with crimson pupils, bursting forward and ending the life of a merc, his hands clenching the insides of the merc, then ripping out his heart, claiming that this is why he left them alive, as he clenches the organ in hand. Van to the back of the frightened mercs, noting this to be black magic, and seeing him consume human flesh, he concludes that assuming similar systems exist to World 2.0, then he must be a vampire or bloodier. The scav launching forward once more and slashing clean through the shield of Ike, who tried to protect another merc. The scav, having bypassed Ike, takes a bite out of the neck of the helpless merc. Dre finally giving the order to attack, sending all the mercs into a charge. However, the scav swiftly weaved through them, slicing them up on his way to Dre, who clashes with him knife to knife, sending him flying back into a wall. Kithel stopping his further advance with a bullet through his skull, with her unit unloading on the scav, who simply eats the attacks unfazed, then charging toward them, ready to kill the firing squad, stopped in his tracks by a bolt from the sky. Van's lightning magic, thunder calling. Van, with lightning emitting off his hands, thinking of his successful control of the AoE and mana usage of the spell. But in the next instant, his magic barrier gets pierced by the scav. Van, having already predicted he'd be targeted, backs up, thankfully upping his barrier strength and having it absorb the shock on breaking. The scav choosing to ignore the gunfire of the mercs and prioritize the more dangerous lightning mage. Van quickly imbuing his shooting combo magic on his gun before he reaches him, letting off a mana infused shot that splits in four, shredding 4 holes in the scav, then stepping forward to finish the job, wary as even one mistake could cost his life with this fragile body of his. But he is determined that sometimes close combat is necessary, grabbing his neck with his lightning charged hand and unleashing his lightning magic with the spell Bolt. The scav persevering through the attack, grinning as he says, "You won't kill me with this." Van, ice cold and unperturbed by his taunt, switching back to his gun and sending 2 shots into his head. The main mercs of the group taking the opening to jump on his back and hold him down. But even still, the mercs have no way to kill the still resisting scav. Dre asking Van if he knows a way. Van thinking of black magic that needs a lot of sacrifice to greatly amplify stamina and recovery rate, most using flesh or blood for energy. Though when that's not enough, they lose their ability to reason, hence why he left all these people alive to prolong his fighting ability. Also noting that black magic is rare because of these side effects, with few knowing info on it. Then Van steps up and places a hand on the restrained scav, using his mana to draw out all the black magic from the scav, who screams in agony as he rapidly ages before collapsing, drained of the black magic, now in a sphere above Van's hand. Van telling the confused Krimgirl mercs that it will be fine to kill him now. Now standing to the side on his own, he looks over the ball of black magic still in his hand. However, without a container to keep it and have the chance to learn about black magic, he instead lets it scatter to the winds. The young Wei-an, witnessing this scene, calls out to him, asking if he is a genius or something, as he has never seen someone control mana like that, claiming it has made him realize how pathetic his mana is. Van himself amazed that Wei-an was able to see him use mana from over there, when no one else had realized what he was doing, thinking if so, he was born with very high mana sensitivity. Wei-an getting to his feet and asking if he were to mimic him, would he also become stronger? Van telling him that Dre Krimgar is a good leader and to seek his advice instead, walking off and finishing with a smile that if he makes up his mind about what he wants to do, he should go see Jenny. Dre, looking over the aftermath, turns to find Van and bows in thanks. Them speaking of the unfortunate losses that come in this field. Van then asking Dre if they can take some blood from the scav and send it to Jenny, with Dre agreeing, also pulling out his tablet to complete Van's payment of 20 million cell, before extending his business card saying he hopes there is a next time. Van taking the card and turning to leave, with a smile on his face, thinking it wouldn't be a bad idea to stay in touch with him. If you enjoyed the vid, like, sub, and comment below. Peace.